On the afternoon of May the 1st, 2016 at 3:50, a tourist in Ansan, Gyeonggi Province, South Korea, found a sack in a drain on Daebu Island. Out of curiosity, he approached and opened it. However, what he saw made him collapse in horror. The sack contained dismembered human remains, so he quickly called the police. Soon after, the police arrived at the scene and swiftly formed an investigation team. They discovered that the deceased was a male, and only the lower half of the body was in the sack. His feet were very small, measuring only 22 centimeters, estimating a height of around 160 centimeters. The body was in a relatively early stage of decomposition, indicating a recent time of death. The Ansan City Police Department launched a large-scale search for the remains, employing 900 officers and numerous drones. 2 days later, they discovered the upper body of the victim near a pier north of Daebu. The body was wrapped in a blanket, placed in a sack, and all organs had been removed. In order to identify the victim, investigators tried fingerprint analysis on the victim's left thumb. However, due to severe damage, the authorities were unable to confirm the identity. Undeterred, they then examined the less decomposed left index fingerprint, narrowing down the search to males aged between 17 and 50. After comparing it against 19 million records, the investigators finally identified the deceased as Mr. Choi, a 40-year-old man from the Yeonsu-gu district of Incheon City. The forensic autopsy report indicated that the cause of death was a severe blow to the head. This clue hastened the police investigation. They first examined Choi's phone records, identified several people he frequently contacted, and Choi's 30-year-old roommate, Cho Seong-ho, became the primary suspect for the police. On the afternoon of May 5th at 1:50, the police visited Choi's apartment in Yeonsu-gu district, where they found bloodstains not yet cleaned off the wall. When the police questioned Cho Seong-ho, he confessed that he did commit the crime. What exactly happened? What made Cho Seong-ho turn against his roommate Choi? After being arrested, Cho Seong-ho claimed it was an accident, as Choi often belittled and bossed him around due to his age, insulting his parents. The murder occurred accidentally during a heated argument at the end of March to early April 2016. He admitted to attacking Choi while he was asleep and repeatedly hitting his head with a hammer. To dispose of his body, Cho Seong-ho placed him in the bathroom and attempted to dismember him over a period of 10 days. On the evening of April 26th, he rented a car and disposed of the dismembered body parts in different locations. Due to the extreme cruelty of this case, it immediately caught the public's attention. On May 6, 2016, the prosecutor made an unusual decision to publicly reveal the suspect's identity due to the heinous nature of the criminal's actions. On May 7th, when Cho Seong-ho was brought from the police station to the court for a hearing, his face was seen by the public for the first time. He was wearing a hoodie and jeans, face unshaved, looking harmless. Everyone was shocked that someone who seemed so unassuming could commit such a vicious act. During his interview with the press, he expressed remorse for what he had done, admitting to feeling extremely scared during the crime. Shockingly, he lived with the body for over 10 days in the apartment where the crime was committed. He placed the victim in a small bathroom measuring only 3.3 square meters. Due to the confined space, he had to curl up when using the bathroom. Following this, he spent 10 days attempting various methods to dismember the body. He continued to go to work and even planned a date with his girlfriend on the day of his arrest. Despite committing the crime, he did not flee, claiming ignorance of being wanted because he did not follow the news. However, after the police checked his social media accounts, they found discrepancies in his statements. Cho Seong-ho often described himself in his blog with a Q&A style and claimed that he looks like a K-pop idol. He said it was a killing triggered by an argument because Choi insulted his parents. Having been under Choi's demeaning and commanding presence for so long, He finally exploded that day, but the truth is not as simple as that. In December 2013, Cho Seong-ho and his girlfriend opened a pet cafe in Ansan City, Gyeonggi Province. But unfortunately, it wasn't long before they ran into financial problems and the cafe closed in December 2014. Even more unluckily for him, his girlfriend ran off with a large sum of money, and this became a major turning point in his life. On January 2, 2016, Cho Seong-ho worked at a motel in Incheon, where he was in charge of till and management duties. 2 days later, he met Choi, who also worked there, and they both lived in a dormitory provided by their employer, and since they were in similar situations at the time, they quickly became friends. However, a month later, they were both fired for not taking their work seriously, and after being kicked out by their employer, they talked about sharing a studio apartment in Yeonsu District, Incheon City, with the lease in Choi's name, and Cho Seong-ho paying the utility bills. At the time, Choi was working at a karaoke, and Cho Seong-ho was working as an agent for adult film actors at an entertainment company, responsible for recruiting and managing actresses who appeared on pay-to-view adult channels. After working together for 2 weeks, Choi offered an unexpected deal, saying that he would be willing to pay Cho Seong-ho 300,000 won per session if he was willing to have sex with him. Under financial pressure, Cho Seong-ho accepted the offer. When they drank together on March 31st, Cho Seong-ho demanded that Choi pay him what he had promised, and Choi always avoided the question, saying that he did not have any money, and a month later, Choi even lost his job, and his financial situation became even worse. When Cho Seong-ho mentioned again that he wanted Choi to pay him, Choi angrily picked up a fork and threatened Cho Seong-ho to leave the apartment. And Cho Seong-ho, who had been kicked out, felt so angry that on April 1st, he bought a 19-centimeter long knife and hid it in their apartment, as well as preparing a hammer. At this point, Choi kept asking Cho Seong-ho to move out of the apartment they shared. At 12:30 p.m. on April 13th, when Cho Seong-ho entered the apartment, Choi, who was lying on the bed, rushed to get up and stop him, asking him why he had not moved out. Cho Seong-ho said it was okay to move out, but first you have to pay what you owed me and the deposit I already paid on the house, totaling 900,000 won. Choi insulted and laughed at Cho Seong-ho's demands and verbally abused his parents, which caused Cho to lose control of his temper, and he picked up the hammer he had previously hidden behind the refrigerator and attacked Choi aggressively in the face and chest, and then dragged Choi to the bathroom and picked up the knife he had previously hidden in the cabinet and stabbed him multiple times in the abdomen and chest. He then dragged Choi to the bathroom, grabbed a knife he had hidden in the cabinet, and stabbed him multiple times in the abdomen and chest. After that, he dismembered Choi's body and removed all of his organs over the course of 10 days. On April 14th, he threw away the larger organs in separate garbage bags and flushed the smaller ones down the bathroom drain. On the evening of April 26th at 11:35, after the body is completely dismembered, he packed them into sacks. At 1:47 a.m. the next day, he drove to Daebu in Ansan City and left the lower part of the body there. At 2 a.m., he disposed of the upper body at a pier north of Daebu. He then returned to the apartment and continued with his normal life, as if nothing had happened. He admitted that his methods were cruel, but denied premeditated murder, claiming it was a spontaneous event. When investigating the motive of the crime, some speculated that Cho Seong-ho might be homosexual. However, investigations and psychological tests did not reveal any tendencies in that direction. His dealings with Choi were purely for monetary gain. As he didn't receive the expected payment and was insulted by Choi, he started to have thoughts of killing him. During police questioning, different opinions about Cho Seong-ho were provided by his acquaintances. His neighbors considered him as someone very kind, while his high school teacher, upon hearing about his arrest, briefly thought the police had apprehended the wrong person. However, one high school classmate gave a different account, mentioning that Cho Seong-ho once crushed a cat's paw with a stone. Valuable information was also given by a former colleague at the entertainment company, stating that approximately 3 months before the incident, Cho Seong-ho had asked if there was a simple way to commit murder. Another former colleague described Cho Seong-ho as someone skilled at scheming and would stick to his plans relentlessly. An adult film actor who had worked with Cho Seong-ho mentioned finding his gaze and smile unsettling, suspecting him of having mental illness. In the trial on May 8th, Cho Seong-ho mentioned that before dismemberment, he attempted various dismemberment methods. Forensic evidence on Choi's body confirmed that the wounds on his right arm, lungs and buttocks indicated that the killer had made attempts and tests. Cho Seong-ho claimed to have a mental illness that led to his violent behavior and lack of control. Therefore, forensic experts used lie detector and psychological tests to verify his claims. However, the psychological assessment indicated that Cho Seong-ho did not have any mental disorders, had normal intelligence, but had a strong ego, tend to focus on details, had difficulty seeing the bigger picture, and lacked problem-solving abilities. Forensic experts considered this a manifestation of lacking ability for observation. Cho Seong-ho committing the killings was possibly not solely due to Choi's failure to pay 900,000 Korean won. Could there be deeper motivations at play? Authorities discovered his Facebook post in April 2014, where he shared his goal to earn millions in the coming years and actively promoted his financial planning and loan services. In reality, Cho has not only worked in entertainment companies, but also in loan companies, karaoke bars, and other places, leading the police to believe this was a premeditated murder rather than a spontaneous event. Despite not being homosexual, he committed this crime due to not receiving the expected compensation for sex. Economics University professor of criminology Lee Soo-jin believed that Cho Seong-ho may suffer from borderline, intellectual and personality disorders, a situation that is difficult to explain with standard psychological theories. His thinking is illogical. For example, he believed that he could live in the apartment if Choi was not there. The prosecution hoped for the death penalty, but on October 28, 2016, he was sentenced to life imprisonment in the first trial at the Seoul District Court. However, on April 30, 2017, the Seoul High Court reduced his sentence to 27 years. As Cho Seong-ho did not appeal, he is expected to be released in May 2043, when he will be 57 years old. Unfortunately, during this process, his ex-girlfriend's and his family's personal information was leaked and led to them also becoming victims unexpectedly. In recent times, incidents like this have been occurring frequently in South Korea. When a criminal's personal information is made public, people typically begin to track their social accounts, including those that are the criminal's families, friends, and acquaintances. While it is acceptable for the public to criticize criminals deemed as antisocial individuals, putting individuals related to them at risk of public scrutiny simply due to their association with the criminal is unnecessary secondary harm. Article 13 of the South Korean Constitution states that no citizen should be subjected to unfair treatment due to the actions of their relatives. The crimes committed by Cho Seong-ho were his own actions and should never extend to implicate his loved ones. With the conclusion of the Cho Seong-ho case, we are not only closing a chapter of a tragic story, but also opening up profound reflection on law and morality in the society. This case reminds us that every life is precious, and justice and compassion should go hand in hand. While pursuing legal fairness, We should also pay attention to protecting the rights of innocent bystanders and not be deceived by seemingly harmless faces. Do you have any thoughts to share regarding today's story? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please support me by giving it a thumbs up or clicking the subscribe button. When you're out, be sure to stay safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.